husband, 42M, annoyed with me, 40F, after neighbor offers her husband.
The other day was at my neighbor's bringing them a ton of popcorn for feeding my 40F cats while away for the holidays. We, and husbands, have been friends for a while and they have watched cats before. She and I were having a glass of wine catching up, normal occurrence, when I needed to use restroom. I went ahead to their guest one when she told me her husband was upstairs taking a shower and I should use that one and that I could have sex with him. I laughed and thought a joke, but she repeated and you could tell was serious. I politely deflected, used the guest one and then quickly wrapped up wine to head home. When got home I recounted to my husband, 42M, what happened and, still flabbergasted and incredulous, asked him if he put her up to that as a joke or otherwise.
He was not happy with that inference and apparently now wonders what I might have done to lead to that offer or if it was me testing waters on a new phase of our relationship. It's awkward right now at home with him and also seeing neighbors we have known for 6 years even just bringing garbage down. Do I pretend it never happened with them and just wait my husband out at this point? TLTR, my 40F neighbor offered sex with her husband to me and now my husband, 42M, is annoyed creating awkwardness both at home and with neighbors.
I have neighbors like this. They are swingers and it took a while for them to let it be known. But now they have asked so many people, and not the most tactfully either. I've never experienced something like it. I think they are getting desperate since they have never actually swung before. But now it's kind of funny and a joke between friends. When my friends come over we warn them that they may be asked. Just so left field from using the bathroom.
That went from 0 to 100 real fast. You better not wait out your husband because this does not come across well and he likely thinking you are testing the idea out. Soon as you see him, explain to him that this offer was made against your will and you have no interest in entertaining the offer and that it made you uncomfortable at the very least. You are and remain 100% faithful to him and have never had nor will have straying feelings on your faithfulness. If you don't straighten this out quickly with your husband, this kind of offer can eat you up from the inside and it can begin to grow the seeds of doubt if not addressed ASAP.
Tell your husband, flat out, that you do not find the neighbor attractive and it made you very uncomfortable that the wife made such a crude offer to you. Even go so far as to tell him that you are so weirded out, you don't want to interact with them anymore.
It could be that they have a particular kink and absolutely no social filter to understand how that offer could be damaging and inappropriate. Maybe it wasn't her first glass of wine and that helped. You could let your husband know that you didn't mean anything bad and didn't want to anger him. You were just extremely confused and were trying to process what just happened. And your intent wasn't to imply anything. I've had someone I knew offer her husband to me. Awkward AF. I found out it was because the wife was having an affair. She wanted him to cheat so she'd feel better. But she wanted him to cheat with someone she knew. Her husband was like my older brother and best friend. I made it crystal clear that while I appreciated the generosity, there was no way in hell it was going to happen. Maybe she wants your husband and thought about testing the waters to see if you'd be up for some swapping. I'd ask her if she meant it as a joke and see what her response is. Tell her you and your husband found it really inappropriate to say something like that.
So this was either a bad joke, or they've got a sharing kink going on. If it's the second, I'd reevaluate your relationship. They essentially invited you to cheat on your spouse? That's pretty messed up if you think about it.
Was it, you have sex with him, so I don't have to? Obviously. You cut the neighbors off and let your husband know that you were confused by the insane offer and that you will not be associating with those folks again. Let your husband know that you never did anything to solicit any of that and it was just straight out of left field. Honestly, were that even suggested to me, I would have just gone straight home and explained to my spouse that we were not on good terms with the neighbors anymore and why. They've got a kink and she completely misjudged trying to bring you into it. It was wrong of her. Your husband is upset and needs processing time, but also has to realize you're not to blame. From what you've said in your original post, the friendship doesn't necessarily need to be over unless you and your husband want it to be, but I'd be wary of unwanted advances from them trying to include you in their kink again. Especially if they've been drinking. I wouldn't be going there again without my partner if I were you. The relationship with your husband far outweighs that of your neighbors. The real solution here is to first sit down with your husband and talk to him. I don't believe you have anything to apologize for. But you do need to make sure you and your husband are on the same page. Be honest about how you were put in an incredibly uncomfortable situation and that you need both of you to work together to clear the air with the neighbors. Next, together write out a text message to the neighbor and state that she made you incredibly uncomfortable and that if it was her idea of a joke, then it was very inappropriate and that jokes of that caliber will not be tolerated. Then distance yourself from the neighbors moving forward. I empathize that you would really much rather the whole incident just go away. But I believe you'll feel much better after talking to your husband and setting a firm boundary with the neighbors. Well, give your husband a break. That's a pretty shocking thing to deal with. You'd know, obviously. So let the shock wear off before making any decisions. While I see where you are coming from, and still flabbergasted and incredulous, asked him if he put her up to that as a joke or otherwise. Seems like you were trying to blame this on your husband. Any reason to think he would do this as a joke or otherwise? I'd be pissed off, too, if something weird happened to my wife and she immediately asked me if it was something I'd planned. Bro, you accused your husband, like, come on now. Of course he mad. His wife just got offered sex by people he thought were friends and you ask him if he was involved? That's a way to make things bad to worse. Was she sarcastic? Maybe she's jealous of you and saw the way her husband looked at you and was just testing you to see what you would say and do. I would deal with the problem with your husband immediately. It's better to tackle it now, up front, rather than let it fester and possibly cause more drama. If I were in his shoes, I would be really upset that this was suggested. To be honest, I might even lash out at my husband just out of not being able to see clearly through the rage. I would continue to soothe him and reassure him, and remind him how disgusting this was for you. Personally, I would just be upset that someone put that thought in my husband's mind. So it would be reassuring to hear that it was nothing but disgusting to him, instead of exciting or interesting, whether he would decline or not. Maybe they had an upside-down pineapple this whole time and you didn't notice? Feeding my 40F cats 40 fucking cats is too many.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.